7 moons before her betrothal ceremony, Zara discovered the terrible secret hidden behind her future husband's smile. What she would learn in the shadowed valleys of the Shimmer Mountains would test not just her heart, but the very fabric of an ancient covenant. This is a story from the Kitani people, where power demands a price and love demands a choice. Zara was a weaver of extraordinary talent. Her fingers could coax threads into patterns that seemed to breathe with their own life. In the mountain village of Makoba, where textiles determined wealth and status, Zara's creations made her father, the trade master, one of the most respected men in the region. At 19, Zara had rejected 3 marriage proposals. The suitors were fine men, but something in her gut whispered that they weren't meant for her. Her mother called it stubbornness. Her grandmother called it the sight, an ability that ran through their family line, a knowing that came before thinking. Then Kofi arrived from the distant settlement of traveling with merchants. He was striking, tall, with thoughtful eyes that seemed to hold countless stories. More importantly, he noticed her. While other men admired her beauty or her father's wealth, Kofi asked about her dreams. He sat with her as she wove, asking questions about the patterns. "What does this symbol mean?" he'd ask, pointing to a geometric design. "It represents the mountain passes where our ancestors found shelter," she'd explain, and he listened as if her words held the secrets of the universe. Within weeks, Kofi's father, a wealthy merchant prince named Kwame, approached Zara's father with an astonishing bride price: 3 chests of gold, rare silks from distant lands, and a deed to a trading post. Zara's father was overjoyed. "This is an honor beyond measure," he declared. But Zara's grandmother, old Alma, pulled her aside. "Child, watch him carefully. Fortune this grand comes with strings attached. Your gift of sight, use it." Zara wanted to dismiss the warning. She was in love, yet she began to notice peculiar things. Kofi never stayed after dark. He wore a silver pendant he never removed, and when she once reached for it playfully, he jerked away as if burned. "It belonged to my mentor," he said coldly. "It's precious. Don't touch it." He also spoke little of his family, changing the subject whenever she asked about his mother. And sometimes she caught him staring eastward toward the Shimmer Mountains, his expression unreadable. 10 days before the betrothal ceremony, Zara couldn't sleep. Stepping outside her family's compound, she heard urgent voices near the storage house. Kofi and his father. "Are you certain she suspects nothing?" Kwame's voice was hard, stripped of the warmth he showed in public. She asked questions. "Too many questions," Kofi replied. "Questions don't matter. After the binding ritual, she'll be ours. She'll have no choice." Zara's heart began to race. Is there truly no alternative? Kofi's voice wavered. "You know the price of refusing the covenant. You know what the mark does. In 4 more days, when your moon of power ends, the mark will consume you unless the ritual is performed. Would you rather die? Would you see our line end?" Silence stretched between them. "But she's innocent," Kofi whispered. "All of them are innocent. That's precisely why they work. The ritual requires a pure heart, untouched by knowledge of what's to come. When she speaks the vows before the sacred loom, her essence will anchor the covenant. You'll be freed and she'll be trapped. A vessel between worlds. Such is the price of power. Your grandfather paid it. I paid it. Now you must." Zara didn't wait to hear more. She ran to her best friend Taika's house and told her everything. "You need to know more," Taika said, her jaw set with determination. "Tomorrow night, follow him. I'll help you prepare." That night, Zara dressed in dark clothing and followed Kofi into the Shimmer Mountains. The path grew stranger the deeper they went. Trees twisted into impossible shapes. The normal sounds of the forest faded, replaced by an eerie silence. Strange lights danced between the peaks, ethereal, otherworldly. Then she saw it, a massive ancient loom carved from a single piece of stone, glowing with silver symbols that matched Kofi's pendant. Around it stood at least 40 people, all wearing identical pendants, all chanting in a language that made her skin prickle. An ancient woman with hair like moonlight and eyes that seemed to see through time raised her staff. "Children of the Covenant, We gather under the light of the ascending moon. The time of reckoning approaches for our brother Kofi. The chanting stopped. Kofi stepped forward and removed his pendant. His body transformed. His skin became translucent, revealing dark veins of shadow that pulsed through his body like poison. His eyes flickered with an otherworldly silver light. He gasped in pain. "The mark consumes him," the elder intoned. "Without the ritual, without the binding, this will consume our entire line. Brother Kofi has until the new moon, 4 days, to complete the covenant. The innocent bride must speak the words of binding before the sacred loom. When she does, the mark transfers to her, and we are freed." Zara's hand flew to her mouth. She watched as Kofi replaced his pendant and his human appearance returned, though pain etched deep lines in his face. A woman in the crowd asked, "And the bride?" "She knows nothing. She knows nothing and will know nothing," the elder said. "She'll speak words she doesn't understand. The mark will bind to her. She'll be trapped between our world and the spirit realm, conscious but unable to leave, holding the covenant in her body so that we may walk free." Zara felt the world tilt. This was her fate, to be trapped forever while Kofi lived in freedom. Then a figure emerged from the shadows. A woman who looked like an older version of Kofi. "Mother." Kofi gasped. The woman stepped into the light. Gasps rippled through the gathering. "Kilia," the elders said coldly, "you were banished. You have no place here." "I claim the ancient right to speak," the woman said firmly. "I am Kwame's wife, though he declares me dead. I am Kofi's mother, though he was told I abandoned him. And I will speak a truth that has been hidden." The gathering erupted in confusion. "She's a liar," Kwame roared. "She'll ruin everything." Kilia turned to her son. "They told you I died when you were young. I was banished for discovering the truth. They hid it from every generation." She faced the gathering. "The covenant can be broken in 2 ways. The first is what you know, trapping an innocent woman to carry the mark. But there is another way, written in the original texts and deliberately hidden by the elders. There is no other way," the ancient woman snapped. "There is," Kilia insisted. "If the man confesses everything to his intended before the binding ceremony and gives her true choice, if she chooses to marry him anyway, knowing all, and willingly accepts the mark, then the covenant breaks completely. Not just for him, for all future generations. No more trapped women. No more innocent vessels." Chaos erupted. Elders shouted. Others demanded proof. Kwame screamed threats. Kofi stared at his father. "You knew there was another way and never told me?" "It doesn't work," Kwame spat. "What woman would choose this burden?" But Kofi's eyes had shifted. He looked toward the shadows where Zara had watched from hiding, as if he could sense her presence. "I won't do it," he said quietly. "I won't trap Zara. I won't become what you are." "Then you'll die in 4 days," Kwame said coldly. "When the mark consumes you. Then I'll die as a man, not as a monster who feeds on innocence." Zara turned and ran through the darkness, her heart pounding with 1,000 contradictions. Zara spent the night with Taika, weighing her choice. By dawn, she had decided. The betrothal ceremony arrived with celebration. Drummers played, and the village gathered in festive dress. Zara's mother adorned her with jewelry, gold bangles, beaded necklaces, and the ceremonial cloth that marked her as a bride-to-be. When Kofi appeared, he looked exhausted, haunted. His eyes found hers, and something in his expression changed. He knew she knew. The ceremony began with the traditional rites. The elder asked Zara the ritual question, "Do you come freely to this union?" "I do," Zara replied. "But before I answer the final question, I have something to say." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. "Kofi," she said clearly, "I need you to tell this gathering the truth. All of it. Your family's covenant. The mark. The ritual. Your mother. Everything." Silence. Then Kofi's father lunged forward, but warriors held him back. Kofi looked at Zara for a long moment. Then, his voice steady despite the trembling in his hands, he confessed. He spoke of the covenant made generations ago by his ancestor, a man who had violated sacred ground for profit. He described the mark that consumed each male in his line. He explained the ritual, the innocent woman the binding ceremony, the transfer of the curse. He spoke of his mother's banishment for discovering an alternative. He told them that there was a way to break the covenant entirely through truth and willing choice. The village erupted. Zara's father rose, his face a storm of emotions. But Zara's grandmother, old Alma, sat quietly, a knowing look in her eyes. "Grandmother knew," Zara said softly. "Didn't you? Your gift of sight is stronger than mine. You saw this." The old woman nodded. "I saw a choice that would reshape generations. I cannot tell you. This path had to be yours alone." Zara turned to Kofi. "You were willing to die rather than harm me. I watched you choose that in the shadows. I heard you refuse, but I also know you love me. The question is whether that love, offered with full knowledge, given with open eyes, has the power to break what fear created." "Zara, no," Kofi whispered. "Don't do this." "I'm not asking permission," she said. "I'm telling you what I've decided." That night, the village processed to the Shimmer Mountains. Zara walked beside Kofi, her hand in his, as they approached the sacred loom. The ancient elder, the woman with eyes like starlight, waited. "You come with full knowledge of the covenant," she said to Zara. "You understand what the binding requires. You know the mark may trap you between worlds. Yet you come willingly." "I do," Zara said. "I choose love over fear. I choose to test whether a covenant born from violation and maintained by deception can be broken by truth and willing sacrifice." Kofi removed his pendant and placed it at the base of the sacred loom. His body transformed, the mark spreading across his skin like dark fire. The elder gave Zara the ancient words. Speaking clearly, her voice unwavering, Zara recited them. "I accept this covenant freely. I take this mark willingly. I bind myself knowingly. Let my choice break what violation created. Let love transform what fear sustained. Let truth shatter what lies upheld." Light exploded from the loom, brilliant, blinding, ancient. Zara felt something enormous seize her essence, pulling her into a space between the tangible and the invisible. She heard Kofi screaming her name. She felt her father's hands trying to reach her, but she was suspended in a place of profound silence. Then voices spoke, not in words but in pure knowing. The voices of the spirits who had been bound to the covenant for generations. "Child of courage, you come offering what was taken by force. You give what was demanded by fear. Such an offering has power. Will I be trapped?" Zara asked. "A willing vessel cannot be trapped. A willing heart cannot be caged. You offered yourself as a container, but consciousness joined with love creates not a vessel, but a mirror. The covenant, reflected in the mirror of willing sacrifice, cannot survive. It transforms. It breaks. Light filled every part of her being. The covenant is ended, not transferred. Broken. Your people are free. We release you with our blessing. Tell them that which is built on violation cannot stand in the light of truth and love." Zara gasped and opened her eyes. She was in Kofi's arms. He was crying, holding her as if she might disappear. But when she looked at him, she gasped. The dark veins were gone. His skin was clear and healthy. The mark had vanished entirely. "It's gone," he breathed. "Zara, how is this possible?" Around them, the gathered members of the covenant were removing their pendants. One by one, they realized the marks had vanished. The covenant that had haunted them for generations was truly broken. The ancient elder fell to her knees. 3 generations of sacrifice, and the answer was always truth and choice. Kelia, Kofi's mother, embraced her son for the first time in years. "Thank you," she whispered to Zara, "for saving him, for saving all of us." The celebration that followed was unlike anything the village had ever seen. 3 days later, Zara and Kofi were married in the sacred place, no longer forbidden, but transformed into a place of healing. The loom still stood, but its symbols had faded. The silver light was gone, replaced by ordinary stone that seemed to rest peacefully. Kofi's father, humbled and changed, asked for forgiveness. Kelia stood beside her son with pride. The other families who had been bound by the covenant brought gifts and gratitude. Children who would grow up free, Men who would never face that terrible choice. Women who would never be trapped. As they danced under the stars, Kofi whispered, "I almost lost myself to fear. I almost let family pressure turn me into something I despised." "But you didn't," Zara said. "When it mattered, you chose correctly. You chose truth. You chose me. That's what matters." Zara's grandmother approached them, a smile on her weathered face. "Your gift of sight led you to the truth, child. But it was your courage that transformed it. What do you think will happen now?" Zara asked. "Now that we've broken the covenant?" "Now," old Amma said, "your children will be born into a world built on truth instead of fear. They'll inherit freedom instead of burden. That is the greatest gift of all." The weavers of Makoba tell this story even now, passing it down through generations. They say that Zara and Kofi had 7 children, and none were marked by any curse. They say the sacred loom became a place of healing where broken families came to be restored. And they say that Zara's weavings became even more magnificent, each one infused with a pattern that represented the triumph of love over fear, a pattern that has never been replicated, though weavers have tried for generations. This is a tale from the Kitani people, reminding us that love is not the absence of struggle, but the courage to face it together. That truth, however difficult, is always stronger than comfortable lies. And that sometimes the greatest magic comes not from curses or ancient powers, but from the simple, radical choice to see another person fully and love them anyway. May your own stories be filled with such courage.